Male dominance is a very common problem in today's world. Why is it such a normal thing? Hi, I'm Maya Mishra, and welcome to #feminismwithme. Today I'll be talking about male dominance in Japan and India and how it came to be. Keep listening, you might learn a thing or two. So when Mr. Bergschneider, my geography teacher, gave us this project, he said we had to choose a topic and two places to compare that topic. My mind immediately went to India because that's where my family is from. I also thought of Japan because I love their culture and food. So I started my quest of research. When I was researching these places, I saw a couple videos with the same theme in them. They were all talking about male dominance. I thought that was kind of weird, so I decided to choose that as my topic. As I kept researching, I had more and more questions, and I kind of went down a research spiral. My mind was racing with thoughts, such as how did this begin, and why isn't anyone doing anything about it? This is when I decided to write all my questions down, and I started to answer them. There were a lot of questions, so for the sake of this podcast, I will only answer the most important ones. So, the biggest question was trying to figure out the answer to why do men have more power? Yeah, I know, this question is kind of bland, but think about it. Do you even know the answer? By the end of this podcast, I hope you do. Number two, the second biggest question. Why do women just not have power? So, through my research, I learned that patriarchy is the biggest answer. I know that is a bit obvious, but since the old days had major patriarchy, it just kind of carried on to the present. It has gotten weaker though, as we are seeing women take some men's positions, but in India and Japan, that is simply just not the case. Women can't walk around at night or wear they want to without being criticized. They can't drink alcohol or buy sanitary products without being judged. They also can't speak up for themselves, or else people will say that they're doing it for attention. This brings us to our third point. What are people doing about it? In 2017, women finally started to speak up about sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, and etc. They created the hashtag #MeToo movement. This movement was huge in helping women to speak out about what happened in their lives. It brought justice to many females who were not hurt. But in India, it was a different story. India, being a very modest and conservative country, did not like the idea of the Me Too movement. They were introduced to it at the end of 2018 when the movement was sort of dying. People did not like that women were speaking up. They were shaming the women who wanted their stories to be heard. At the end, only a small handful of women got justice. Switching over to Japan. Here, hashtag #MeToo is taboo. One woman was brave enough to speak up. Japanese journalist Shiori Ito claimed to be raped by a man. As soon as she spoke up, people dragged her for doing it for attention. They said it was false and that she was doing it for publicity. After months and months of hard work, Ito won her lawsuit. So you may be wondering, well, how does this relate to your first question? I want you to think for a second about all the reasons why men have more power than women. Okay, ready? Here's what I have. Number one, social norms. There are unwritten rules that just evolve from everyday life. Whatever people prefer turn into social norms. Number two, gender stereotypes. Almost all gender stereotypes begin in children's television. They are being fed this information and they believe it. Some examples of norms and stereotypes include women staying at home and taking care of the kids. And in my opinion, I think that if we try to stop feeding kids stereotypes, they will form their own opinions. In the end, there is no real answer as to why men have more power, but through my research and understanding, I think that it all comes down to history. The norms and stereotypes will always be there, but it's up to us to stop them. Your conclusion may be different from mine, and that's okay. You have to use your own knowledge and understanding to gather your own conclusion. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I hope you learned something new. The resources I used included sarthyindia.org, thehindu.com, theatlantic.com, newyorktimes.com, weforum.com, cnbc.com, stanford.edu, simplypsychology.org, un.org. Keep in mind, these aren't all the resources that I used, but they are the ones that I use for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I see you later. Bye.